Hi babe, how are you doing today? I hope you are doing good. Welcome back to my channel, and I'm back with a new story. If you're new to my channel, I'm Vera, but you can call me V, and I share amazing stories. And say this is something you love, please subscribe and like this video. And don't forget to turn on the notifications so that when I post, you'll be notified immediately. Today's shout out goes to _life of Torix, Tracy Prince T9X, and Sherita Adrani. They were the first people to comment on my last video. Thank you so much for the support, babes. I love you. And I'll be that without any further delay, let's get right into it. I had nowhere to go. That night, I held my baby so close, I could feel his tiny heartbeat against mine. It was only 8 months old, innocent, helpless, and hungry. My rent had expired 2 weeks earlier. The landlord had warned me politely the first time, then shouted the second, and on the third knock, he threw my things into the corridor like I was garbage. I called everyone I could think of, my cousin, my auntie in Tema, even my old friend from school, who had once said, I will always be there for you if you need me. No one answered. Those who did had the same reply. Things are hard, my sister. I wish I could help. My baby's father, forget him. He had disappeared into thin air the moment I told him I was pregnant. My family had washed their hands off me long ago. We warned you about that useless boy, but you said love is sweet. Now see your life. You chose your path. Face it. So I did. That night, I sat on the concrete in front of a locked container kiosk, my baby crying softly in my arms. I wrapped him tighter in his blanket. I was too scared to sleep, but too tired to stay alert. People passed me. Some glanced. Most ignored me. The world keeps moving even when your life has stopped. Then, just when I thought I would spend the night under the sky again, I heard a soft voice behind me. Hey you, come. I looked up slowly. A woman stood there, short, dark-skinned, and wearing a faded apron over a long dress. Her voice was firm but gentle. You can't sleep outside with that baby. You will kill him with cold. Come inside my shop. I stared at her, stunned. I didn't even know her name. Hey, this girl, you want to kill this baby in the cold? Come inside. Come and lie down. Even if I have only air, we will share it. She noticed my hesitation and added, come, there is space inside. You and the baby can manage till morning. I followed her like a child, clutching my son. Her shop was small, just 2 saloon chairs, a cracked mirror, and a dryer that looked like it came from 1999. There was a mat in the corner. She swept a space for me beside a bag of Weebons and hair creams. She gave me her own wrapper to lie on. All I could do was whisper, thank you. She smiled and said, sleep. Tomorrow is another fight. I held my baby, closed my eyes, and for the first time in a long time, I felt safe. Her name was Vida, but everyone in the area called her Sister Auntie Vida. Why? Because she was always talking like somebody's sister and behaving like somebody's auntie. She would greet you, advise you, correct you, and insult you lovingly, all in the same breath. She knew everybody's business, who was cheating, who owed rent, who was pregnant and denying it. Yet somehow, no one hated her. She was loud, nosy, and opinionated. But her heart, it was pure gold. That first night, I still remember her exact words. She looked me up and down, then said, hey, this girl, you want to kill this baby in the cold? Come inside. Come and lie down. Even if I have only air, we will share it. She didn't ask for money. She didn't ask where I came from. She just opened a salon and made space. I started helping around without being asked. I swept every morning before she opened the doors. I washed their towels, and when she was tired, I would even help section braids for her customers. I had learned a bit from watching. I made myself useful, and Vida noticed. Sometimes, after a long day, she would look at me and say, you see, you are not useless. You just needed a chance. Don't let life defeat you. I would smile quietly and nod, even when my heart was still breaking. At night, I rolled out the mat behind the dryer and laid my baby down. There was no fan. The heat inside the salon could be unbearable, especially during power cuts. My baby cried a lot. sometimes from hunger, sometimes from heat. But Vida never once complained. She would say, he's a baby, crying is his language. When things get better, you will both laugh. Ow. She would bring me hot water in an old flask, sometimes bread and margarine if she had enough. She treated me like a distant cousin who had fallen on hard times, not like a stranger who just wandered into her life. I couldn't keep sleeping in Vida's shop and doing nothing. Even though she never made me feel like a burden, I felt it. So I told myself, even if I have to sell water in traffic, I must find something, anything to contribute. I started waking up before dawn. I would strap my baby on my back, wrap his legs carefully in an old towel, and leave the saloon before first light. I swept for a chop bar owner down the road. She paid me 5 cedis a day, and sometimes gave me leftover rice in a black rubber bag. Other times, I bought oranges in bulk and sat near the roadside calling out and sold them. I hogged biscuits and boiled granules during the afternoon traffic. I cleaned gutters for women who ran food joints. I even washed clothes for some big girls in the neighborhood who would insult me before handing me crumpled notes, all with my baby tied to me, sweating under the sun. Still, Vida never allowed me to pay rent. Every time I offered money, small coins I managed to save, she would wave her hand and say, "Abeg, carry your money. Go and buy your baby something." Once, when my baby had a fever and I was too broke to buy Panadol, I sat outside the pharmacy crying. I didn't even know Vida had followed me. She walked past me quietly, went inside, and came out with the medicine and a small tin of baby cereal. She didn't say anything. She just pressed the items into my hand and said, "Wipe your tears. This child will not suffer because his father ran away." That day, I went back to her shop and cried like a baby. I knelt on the dusty floor and said, "God bless you, Vida. One day I will repay you, I swear on my life." She smiled and wiped her hands on her apron. Then she looked at me and said something I will never forget. "Don't worry about me. Just get back on your feet. That is all I want. If you stand well one day, help someone else too." But honestly, life was wicked. It squeezed me. It tested me. It kept throwing blows just when I thought I could breathe. Some days, I returned with nothing, sunburnt, hungry, and defeated. But every night, as I lay behind that noisy dryer, with my baby curled into my chest, I reminded myself, I am not here forever. I am just passing through. Life in the saloon was already hard. The fans barely worked. The walls were stained with old hair dye, and power outages happened like clockwork. But it was peaceful until the gossip started. At first, it was whispers. "That girl is living in Vida's shop. She's not even family. Hey, some people are too soft. These girls will eat your kindness like food and spit you out." But soon, the whispers turned to full-blown advice, uninvited advice. One morning, just as Vida was setting rollers in the customer's hair, 2 older women from the next compound came in under the pretense of greeting. They didn't even sit down before one of them said loudly, "Vida, abeg, don't let that girl bring you down, oh. Not every stray cat should sleep in your house." I was in the back, mixing conditioner. I heard everything. Another neighbor added, "She will bring you bad luck. Or worse, police problem. One day you come and meet your dryer missing." Vida didn't say anything at first. She just kept rolling the hair like she didn't hear. Then she paused, turned to them with a small smile and said, "If I chase her out, what do I gain? If she was your daughter sleeping outside with a child, what would you want someone to do?" The saloon went silent. She wasn't yelling. She didn't insult them. But the weight of her words hung heavy in the air. They mumbled and left, offended that she dared defend me. But that wasn't the last time. Every other week, someone would drop a comment. "Be careful, oh. Some girls are possessed. Let her find her own place. I bet she came to inherit your shop. You have been so kind, and people will use you." And still, Vida stood by me. Even when she had just one bowl of kinky and fish, she would break it in half and say, "Eat, the child too. He didn't ask to be born into this." There were nights when she didn't eat at all, just drank garri and slept. But she never complained. She saw the way I scrubbed the floors, the way I bathed my son in cold water before dawn, the way I returned every evening, no matter how hard my hustle had been. She believed in me when no one else did. I always believed that if I just kept pushing, kept working, kept praying, one day something would shift. But for the longest time, it felt like I was just sweeping dust and collecting sweat. Then one afternoon, hot and dry, like most days in Accra, a woman walked into Vida's salon. She looked rich. She was wearing a kaftan and carrying a laptop bag. She didn't even sit before she said, "Good afternoon. Please, can someone help me with a quick cornrow?" Vida was finishing a bridal wave, so I offered her water and swept around her chair while we waited. That is when she looked at me and said, "You sweep like you are cleaning your own house. Are you a cleaner?" I smiled, a bit shy. "Not officially, but I can clean." She raised a brow. "You are very neat. Are you busy in the mornings?" My heart started beating fast. "No, ma, I am free." "Good. Come to my boutique tomorrow. Clean it well. If I am impressed, it will be regular." She scribbled the address on the back of a flyer and handed me 10 cedis for transport. I couldn't sleep that night. I got up before dawn, bathed my son using a small black bucket behind the saloon, tied him to my back, and made my way to a boutique. When I arrived, she handed me a broom, mop, and a long list. "Don't just wipe the floor. Arrange the shoes, clean the shelves, dust the mannequins." I got to work. By the time she returned 2 hours later, her mouth dropped open. "Wow," she said. "You are serious about this, aren't you?" That was the beginning. The next week, she told a friend who owned a makeup studio. That friend told her sister who sold fabrics. From one boutique, it became 3. Soon, I was cleaning every morning. Not a lot, but steady money, respectable. I bought a second-hand basin to wash clothes for 2 tenants in the next compound. I joined a susu group. I bought small clothes for my child. Nothing fancy, but clean and warm. Eventually, I saved enough to rent a single room. Just one small room behind a mechanic shop with a wooden door and no window. But it was mine. I spread a mat and placed my baby's plastic bowl in the corner. And I cried the first night we slept there. Tears of joy. But I didn't forget Vida. Even after moving out, every weekend, I came back to the salon to help her plait, sweep, or just sit and laugh with her when business was slow. She had opened a door to me at my lowest. How could I ever walk away now that things were slowly getting better? Just when life started smiling at me, small blessings, steady work, peace of mind, he returned. The same man who vanished the moment I said I am pregnant. The same man who left me crying in front of people's gates, begging for food with a baby on my back. Yes, him, my baby's father. He showed up one evening, standing outside my small room like a ghost. I should have slammed the door. I should have remembered all the cold nights I spent in Vida's saloon while it was cuddling church ushers. But instead, I stood there, frozen. He started talking fast. "I have changed. I want to be a father. I didn't know what I had lost until I lost you. Please, let me fix things." And like a fool, I believed him. Oh, babe. I told Vida the next day, expecting her to be happy for me. She didn't smile. She just stared at me and said, "Don't let the person who left you in the rain now come and enjoy your son." I brushed it off. He has changed. He's trying. My son needs his father. Love will make you blind to common sense. Within 2 weeks, he had moved into my tiny room. At first, he acted like a helper, fetching water, bathing the baby, saying prayers at night. But slowly, things changed. He started demanding money for my cleaning jobs. He said, "I am your man. Why should you be hiding money from me?" Then he began controlling my movements, saying, "You are always going out. Are you really cleaning or meeting other men?" He started checking my messages. He told me to quit working for Vida because, according to him, that woman has made you too proud. I was too ashamed to tell anyone, not even Vida. I just kept smiling, pretending everything was okay. But inside, I was breaking again. I had worked so hard to climb out of that pit. Now I was falling back in. All because I listened to sweet words instead of remembering bitter actions. I wanted love so badly, I forgot to love myself first. It happened on a Friday. I had just returned from cleaning the last boutique for the week. It was payday. I was tired, dusty, and sweaty, but happy because I had saved enough to finally buy a second-hand mattress. No more mat on the floor. My son would sleep like a king that night. I had wrapped the money, every pesewa I had managed to gather from all jobs and suffering, and tucked it deep inside the wrapper bag beneath my clothes. I had counted it that morning. 470 cedis. To me, it was gold. But when I opened the door, the room was empty. Not cleaned, not swept, empty. My box was wide open. My small food bag was gone. My plastic kettle gone. My baby's second-hand pair of shoes gone. And worst of all, the money gone. I stood there in silence for almost a minute, just blinking. Then it hit me like a truck. It was gone. Again. No note, no explanation. He didn't even leave 1 cedi for baby food. I ran to the next house, asked if they saw him. They said they saw him in a taxi that morning with a backpack. That was it. I collapsed on the doorstep. My baby started crying, but I couldn't even lift him. I was numb. I wrapped him with my scarf, tied him to my back, and did the only thing I knew to do. I walked to Vida's salon. When she saw me standing there, eyes red, feet swollen, baby sweating behind me, she didn't ask any questions. She didn't shout. She didn't mock me. She didn't say, "Didn't I warn you?" No. She just looked at me for a second and simply said, "Come inside." Again. That same shop, that same small space, that same quiet kindness. She moved her things aside, laid out a wrapper, and handed me water. I sat on the floor of that salon and cried like a widow at a graveside. Not because of the man, but because I let myself get used again. And yet, even in my lowest moments, Vida just sat beside me and said, "Cry, my dear, cry and finish. But after you cry, stand up again. You are not done." And that was the moment I realized life would hit me, but I would never stay down again. 2 years had passed. 2 long, painful, beautiful, fire-tested years. My baby was now in school, wearing a second-hand uniform and big shoes that made him waddle like a duck. But he was happy. I had grown. I was no longer the girl sleeping behind the dryer, afraid to breathe too loud. I had registered my cleaning hustle as a business. I had a small client base, a notebook filled with appointments, and a second phone for work calls. People started calling me Madam Clean. I would smile, remembering the days I couldn't afford soap. Then one afternoon, I passed by Vida's salon like I always did, and found her sitting quietly on a stool, her apron folded in her lap. She looked tired, not physically tired, spiritually tired. Her eyes were far away, her smile was weak. "Vida," I asked, kneeling beside her, "what is wrong?" She sighed, then said something I never expected to hear from her mouth. "They want to increase my rent. I have been trying to gather the money, but..." She looked away. "Things haven't been easy lately. Customers are fewer. Everything is expensive. If I don't pay by month's end, they will lock the shop." I froze. For the first time since I met her, Vida looked unsure. This woman who had fed me with her last bowl of kinky, who defended me when the world turned its back, who took in a stranger and a baby with no questions. She needed help. That night, I went home and sat in silence. I looked at my son as he drew stick figures on the wall with pencil. I thought about the days I had nothing and how Vida never made me feel like nothing. And I cried. Not tears of pity, tears of joy. Because finally, it was my turn. I raised for my business savings, the money I had planned to use for flyers, new uniforms, and a small speaker to advertise in traffic. I held it in my hand and whispered, "God, I know what this is for now." The next morning, I woke up before the sun. My hands were trembling as I counted the money, not because I didn't want to give it, but because I had waited so long for this moment. I tied the cash in a black rubber bag, wore my cleanest dress, and carried my son on my back like the old days. We took a trotro to the area. I didn't go to the saloon first. I went straight to the landlord's house, the same man who used to shout at Vida about noise and late payments. I greeted him politely, introduced myself, and explained why I was there. At first, he looked at me like I was joking. You want to pay Vida's shop rent? Yes, sir, for the full year. He called out to his wife. Come and hear this, oh. One small girl says she wants to pay 12 months rent for another woman's shop. But I ignored the sarcasm because I wasn't there to impress him. I was there to honor her. I counted every CD in front of him. He wrote the receipt with his own hand and stamped it. As I held that paper in my palm, I smiled. I walked to the salon with my heart beating fast. Vida was in the middle of curling the customer's weave. She saw me and smiled like she always did. Madam Clean, she said playfully. Where have you been hiding? I walked up to her and handed her the envelope. What is this? She asked. Open it. She opened it slowly, casually, until her eyes landed on the bold writing at the top of the paper. Rent receipt, paid in full. Her hand started shaking. She looked at me, confused, then down again, then back at me. You did this, she whispered. I nodded. Her lips trembled, her eyes turned red. I don't understand. I held her hand gently and said, You gave me shelter when I had nothing. You gave my son a place to sleep, a place to breathe. You told me not to pay you back, just rise. Well, I have risen. Now let me give you peace. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Right there in front of the customer, we both cried, not out of sadness or pity. I pulled her into a hug. Two women, one who once had nothing, and one who gave everything without asking for anything. That day, I gave her what life had denied me for so long, a safety net and a deep breath. People gathered at the door whispering. Even the landlord stood there, speechless, shaking his head slowly, like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Someone finally asked her, Madam Vida, who is this girl to you? And through her tears, she smiled and said, She's my daughter, not by blood, but by heart. If you had told me years ago that I would one day own anything at all, I would have laughed. But here I am. Today, I own two shops. One is a cleaning agency office. The other is a small mart. I employ 3 women. All of them are single mothers, just like I once was. I pay them well. I give them Sundays off. And I remind them every month, your story isn't over. It is just beginning. As for Vida, my angel in human form, she still runs a saloon. The same tiny space that once gave me shelter now gives me peace whenever I walk past. And every Christmas, without fail, I walk to the same landlord, smile and say, I am here to pay Mama Vida's rent 1 year in full. It is my favorite gift of the season. People in the area now call me Madam Gifts. Some say it is because I am always blessing others. Some say it is just my business name. But only a few people know the real story. The story of a broke-tired girl with a baby on her back, who was told, you can sleep here tonight, by a woman with nothing to gain. That night changed everything. Not just my life, my future, my child's life, the lives of the women I now help. All because someone decided to be kind when it wasn't convenient. So yes, today I live well, I sleep well, I sleep in peace. But I will never forget where it all started, in a hot, noisy saloon, behind an old hairdryer, with a woman named Vida who looked at me and said, you can sleep here tonight. I love stories like this. Please be kind though. Be kind to people. Babe, I'm so happy for you. Please help people. Help someone in need. Not because you are expecting something back in return, but because you can. Okay? And let me hear your thoughts down below about this story. And Abi, you know that this is a judgment-free zone. We listen, we don't judge. So please be kind to her in the comment section. And babe, if you've not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Please come and join the family. Subscribe and like this video. And don't forget to turn on the notifications so that when I post, you'll be notified immediately. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Okay, I'm done. Bye.